Welcome to Web 2.0 Tools and Professional Development Learning Session 9. At the conclusion of this session, you should be able to understand the history of teachers integrating technology into instruction and be able to articulate the shortcomings, understand and be able to explain the role of constructivism in teachers using technology in their classrooms, and finally, be able to design professional development to build the capacity of teachers in using a constructivist approach coupled with Web 2.0 tools to teach 21st century learners. Dr. Lawrence Tomei of Robert Morris University wrote a book titled The Technology Facade. The technology facade occurs when we fail to understand that the educational imperative of technology involves the integration of computers and software with learning strategies, developmental principles, and pedagogical ideals to solve real-world educational problems. The technology facade occurs when we fail to understand that technology is an ongoing process that demands the time, attention, and dedication of many competent people, a significant and consistent level of financial investment, and a commitment of resources that will necessarily be diverted from other critical school-wide obligations. And finally, the technology facade occurs when we fail to equip our teachers with the necessary skills to successfully prepare, present, and evaluate instructional lessons using technology. Despite vast amounts of money spent on PD to help teachers integrate technology into the classroom, we have not realized the promise of technology in the classroom. So the problem is that teachers aren't using the technology that they have available for them to teach. Evidence of this exists in the latest survey in 2009. Nearly one-third of teachers reported that they or their students never or rarely use computers during instructional time in the classroom. Additionally, over one-fourth of teachers reported that they or their students never or rarely use computers during instructional time in other locations besides the classroom. So why is there a lack of integration in technology into the classroom? In most places, it is not a lack of access, equipment, or training. Mark Prensky, author of Digital Natives, Digital Immigrants, has written about this phenomenon in a piece titled The Role of Technology in Teaching in the Classroom. Basically, he has said that because this technology won't help a telling style of teaching, which many teachers employ, they have been reluctant to adopt the new technology. He claims that the role of technology in our classrooms is to support the new teaching paradigm, which is a shift from a teacher-centered to a student-centered classroom. So how do we facilitate this shift in the paradigm of how students learn? The rest of this presentation will focus on 3 strategies that staff developers and other educational leaders can use to change the paradigm from a teacher-centered approach to a student-centered approach. Those 3 strategies are professional learning communities, communities of practice, and using Web 2.0 tools for professional development. Dufour and Aker have been promoting the idea that the way to reculture the school is to organize teachers into professional learning communities where they're working on the answers to 4 key questions. Those 4 key questions are: what do we want students to learn? How will we know if they learned it? What will we do if they don't learn it? What will we do if they already know it? One of the key ideas behind professional learning communities, or PLCs, is to flip the equation of traditional schooling. In the traditional equation, time plus support equals learning, where time and support are constants and learning is the variable. In the new equation, time plus support equals learning, where learning is the constant and time and support are the variables. Once this paradigm shift occurs, then teams of teachers can start to look for ways to make time and support the variables. In many instances, bargain agreements, negotiated contracts, and rigid curriculum requirements for students make this impossible. As teachers search for solutions, Web 2.0 tools will become the obvious answer, and teachers will embrace using Web 2.0 tools to create a student-centered environment where students are more responsible and in charge of their own learning. Communities of practice. Situated learning. LaVey and Wegner. A community of practice defines itself along three essential elements. 1. Joint enterprise. 2. Mutual engagement. And 3. Shared repertoire. This quote from page 29 of LaVey and Wenger's Situated Learning, Legitimate Peripheral Participation provides insight into what a community of practice is all about. A person's intentions to learn are engaged, and the meaning of learning is configured through the process of becoming a full participant in a socio-cultural practice. This social process includes, indeed it subsumes, the learning of knowledgeable skills. End of quote. In other words, learning is a social process and it occurs within a community of practitioners. The takeaway for staff developers is to use whatever means necessary, including Web 2.0 tools, to build these communities and to facilitate the learning in these communities. Professional development and Web 2.0 tools. For the remainder of this presentation, we will discuss the advantages and possibilities of using blogs, wikis, and podcasts as professional development. If we think back to our learning session on using wikis in the classroom, can we apply some of the lessons we learned there to professional development? A quick look back shows us that the answer to this question is a resounding yes. Let's look back at the 5 essential elements of cooperative learning: positive interdependence, promotive interaction, individual and group accountability, teaching interpersonal and group skills, and group processing. Watch the video again on the 5 basic elements of cooperative learning. It is included also in the content for this learning session. As you watch the video, mentally replace the word students with the word teachers. I think you will see how powerful wikis can be in creating the teams you need to raise student achievement through the use of Web 2.0 tools. What are the implications for teaching and learning and using blogs as a tool for PD? Put into practice with an understanding of their benefits and limitations, blogs are an increasingly accepted instructional technology tool. Blogs can be used for reflection about classes, careers, or current events. They can also capture and disseminate student and faculty-generated content. RSS feeds make blog content accessible through newsreaders, allowing bloggers to increase the sharing of this information among interested individuals. Blogs offer students, faculty, staff, and others a high level of autonomy while creating a new opportunity for interaction with peers. Blogs provide a forum for discussion that goes beyond coursework to include culture, politics, and other areas of personal exploration. Students often learn as much from each other as from instructors or textbooks, and blogs offer another mechanism for peer-to-peer knowledge sharing and acquisition. Podcasts as a tool for PD. There are 2 sides of podcasts as a tool for PD. First, there are those professional development providers who can use podcasts to make their content available to learners. Second, they can be used as a convenient way for teachers to build professional knowledge on their terms at their own time. Make sure to check out some of the URLs to successful podcasts provided on pages 53 to 57 of our text, Web 2.0, How-To for Educators. I've included a few on this slide: the Education Podcast Network and Speaking of History podcast. Conclusion. First, the most important shift we need to facilitate through professional development is the shift from a traditional teacher-centered approach to a more constructivist, student-centered approach. Second, Web 2.0s will be an integral part of facilitating this shift and developing staff to integrate technology and to become more student-centered. Thank you for watching this presentation of Web 2.0 tools and professional development.